Today, we're making chocolate oatmeal fresh milled flour cookies. Welcome to White Shadow Fare. Make it homemade and make it with love. This is a 1-bowl recipe, so in 1 large bowl, add 1 cup of room temperature butter and 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. To that, you're going to add either white sugar or cane sugar. I'm using cane sugar, and you need 1 cup. With the oats and the fresh milled flour, these cookies are going to be packed with fiber and protein. With your mixer, you're going to cream that room temperature butter and your light and dark sugars. So I started off by trying to break up the butter a little bit. It's probably not quite at room temperature, and it would work out much better for me if I had followed my own directions. Creaming the butter and the sugar together helps melt the sugar into the butter, and while adding air to your mixture. Scrape down the bowl as needed. While we're still making a cookie, these cookies are going to be filled with all sorts of vitamins and nutrients, along with that fiber and protein. I'm starting to prepare for the holiday season by getting some cookies baked. These freeze really well, and they're perfect for pulling out of the freezer a couple at a time, letting them come to room temperature, and really enjoying them. Great for kids' lunches as well. Add 2 room temperature eggs. Whenever you're baking, you want your ingredients to be at room temperature. So about an hour before you start, pull everything out of the refrigerator. You're adding those eggs one at a time. So after it's completely mixed in, go ahead and add the next egg. Following best baking practices, you should crack your eggs into a separate bowl so that if any pieces of shell get into the egg, they're easier to get out and they don't get into your final product. All cultures have some sort of cookie that they make, especially during their holidays. And baking and eating cookies during the holidays is one of my favorite memories. Cookies are fantastic to make with children. And now we're going to add our leavening agents. So you need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And I just sprinkle that all over my butter sugar mixture. A 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm using Redmond's real salt, but any kind of salt will work here. If you've ever made the mistake of not adding salt to a baked good and then eating it, you realize how important the salt is. And before we mix again, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. The Dutch settlers brought their tradition of cookie making here to America, and luckily we're still enjoying them today. We're going to blend this thoroughly, scraping down the bowl if you need to. One thing I like about baking in the fall is I put everything in the freezer, and then when the holidays pop up, I have treats to take to people's homes. If anybody stops by, I have cookies on hand. I like to gift them to my neighbors and to friends and family. We don't eat as many cookies here ourselves anymore, but I certainly like to give them away to other people. Holiday cookies are a great way to introduce people to fresh milled flour. A 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is extremely fine, so when you go to mix it, make sure your mixer is on low or you will be wearing that cocoa powder. And now you notice that the batter is getting a little bit thicker. To this, we're going to add some freshly milled soft white wheat. You need 1.5 cups. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment below. Tell me what your favorite cookie is to make at the holiday time. Three cups of rolled oats. I used old-fashioned oats. You could also use quick oats. Oats are healthy. They are great for our digestion. And between that and the whole wheat flour, these are almost a healthy cookie. At this point, the batter is so thick that you might want to mix it by hand with something like a wooden spoon. But I really wanted to give my mixer a workout on this one. And then the last optional ingredient is going to be some chocolate chips. I added about a half cup, but anywhere from a half cup to 1 cup of chocolate chips, depending on how chocolatey you like them. And whenever I'm baking with fresh milled flour, I like to give my flour a little bit of time to hydrate. I'm not turning on and preheating the oven until my cookies are completely made. While the oven is preheating, my fresh milled flour is hydrating. And look how thick this batter is. These are going to bake in your preheated 350-degree Fahrenheit oven, anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. Once they come out of the oven, let them sit on the tray for at least 1 full minute before transferring them to a cooling rack. They're adult and kid approved. My granddaughter loved them. I loved them. Oats, fresh milled flour, just delicious. These are perfect for the holidays, special occasions, or just because you want a special treat. Absolutely fabulous. Look how thick and chocolatey they are. I hope you'll give this one a try. Thank you for joining me at White Shadow Fare.